Hello, it's Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. We're back. We hope you're having a happy day wherever you're listening to this audio content from. As always, we'd like to thank you for your continued support of Greg Grizzled and Gaijin social media and writing efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is episode 046 of the Greg Grizzled and Gaijin, definitely not a podcast show. A light and fluffy look at social media, Japan, Japanese food, expat life, and life in general. As always, your retweets of this and all the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful content that we actively tweet and retweet out on Craig Hoffman11 on Twitter is appreciated. Thank you in advance for helping us get the good word out about Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. Welcome back, another good show today. It's a rather light work Saturday. I have to work later today at an event, but I have some time. Those I care about are out with their activities and doing things that they enjoy. I was taking a cursory glance through my Greg Grizzled and Gaijin mailbag questions. Sometimes they become great blog posts and other audio content shows on the Greg Grizzled and Gaijin, definitely not a podcast show. Again, I don't do that particularly for fame or fortune or even ratings. I just think people will have questions and they need somewhere to go. And I've lived here, again, more than 14 years. Doesn't mean I'm an expert in all things Japan or life or social media or even living. But I've been around the block a few times, had my ups and downs, and I'm still standing. So all things considered, that's a win, I think. But I wanted to go down some questions and answer them as best as I can. If you have interest in a deeper discussion of something that I touch upon today in this rather potpourri of questions about Greg Grizzled and Gaijin, or rather for Greg Grizzled and Gaijin, Craig as it were, then let me know at Craig Hoffman11 on Twitter. I'm always interested in creating content that people want to read about and engage. So the first question, I guess, we'll start. Somebody asked me, why did you come to Japan? I came to Japan because I needed a job. If you're looking for some great answer about how I loved Japanese and Japanese food and I loved all things Japan, that was not me. I grew up in a small area, small town. I had dreams and desires of living, working, and dying in that same area. And it just didn't work out. And sometimes that's the way it goes in life. I got an opportunity to come to Japan on a Sister Cities program, and I was very fortunate to get that job, and the rest is history. Somebody wanted to ask me about my job. I can say this: I'm an English teacher for a private company, a very, very, very good private company, and I'm very lucky to have that job, and I'm appreciative that they have continued to employ me and genuinely respect the work that I have put in and done for that company. I can't talk specifically about it. I have non-disclosure things in my contract, and company rules prevent me from doing that. But suffice it to say, my job is good. And I will throw this out, that some companies do have that more and more about not trashing them on social media and talking about company business. But I see a fair number of English teachers these days, blabbing on and talking specifically about students and student pictures and life and work at their places of employment. Word to the wise, I would be really, really, really careful doing that. Japan's a funny place. People don't like to feel disrespected, especially when you're not Japanese. So there's that. Somebody asked me, why do I write and why am I on social media? Again, I've talked about that. I turned 40. I wanted to be more than an English teacher in Japan. I tried looking for another job and it just didn't fit my life. I'm not able to move to a big area where there are probably opportunities for a bright, hard-working foreigner to excel and break out. So I had to make the most of my situation. I looked at myself and I tried to find things that I might have some modicum of talent in, and I knew I could write and edit, and I knew I was an entertaining person. So I thought I would give it a shot, and I've written some books and blog posts, and I've continued to grow thanks to the good people and Greg Grizzled and Gaijin superfans who have supported me for the last 2.5 years. I'm not rich, I'm not famous. I'd love to tell you that I'm going to get there, but I do put the work in, and I hope that my dreams of, quote, being more, end quote, than an English teacher in Japan come true. And for those of you out there, if you're able to help me achieve that goal faster, I'm most appreciative of any hints, help, and advice that you can give. So there's that. Somebody asked me, is it difficult to find an English teaching job in Japan? Not particularly. If you're very flexible in your geography and you don't care what level you teach and you have a 4-year college degree, it's pretty easy to get work. It doesn't mean that you're going to love it, but you can get a job. I'd say that's a reasonable assumption, especially as Japan continues to expand English teaching into the elementary school. Somebody asked me, how do you get so many followers on Twitter? I'm on Twitter daily. I post and tweet a lot. I write a lot of blog content. I promote and promote and promote, and I support a lot of people who in turn support and promote me. And that daily effort, again, over the last 2.5 years, through hard work, grit, determination, and probably some fair amount of social media acumen, has led me to 15,500 plus followers on Twitter. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Again, not changing my life. I still work hard each and every day, and I will continue to do that for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I've built something really special, and I'm proud of that, to be sure. Somebody asked me, do I have any hobbies? No, I don't have any hobbies. And I know people are really surprised at that. I don't watch TV. I don't read a lot of books. I don't watch movies. I love sports, and I read sports pages. I guess, does that count as a hobby? I read a lot. I read a lot of newspapers and news and things like that. But mostly I'm reading that because I'm looking for things to talk about and write about and things to do. I don't have a lot of friends. Most of them have moved away. I'm a busy guy. I don't go out socially at all. So there's that. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it leaves a lot of writing time outside of my work. People wanted to know about my family and my wife and things. I have all that. I never talk about them on social media, and there are a lot of reasons for that, but I'm actually in real life a very, very, very private person. They're all happy and healthy, and I'm very, very proud of them, and I'd love to shout to the rafters about all the joy and good vibes that they bring into my life, but I don't. But again, I'm really proud of the folks that I share my existence with here, to be sure. Somebody asked me, are you good at Japanese? I suppose. I don't have any language certificate in Japanese. I've taken the test a few times. A few years ago, I failed, and I've done other content on that. I probably would pass even the top level today, I would assume. I do study from time to time, not as hard as I probably should, but at my company I have to use Japanese a lot, so my skills, I'm sure, aren't getting any worse. So I guess I'm good, whatever that means. You know, people, are you good? I guess. I should be better. I'll leave it at that. I could be better, and I want to be better, but that's most of the foreigners who I have met over the years who have taken an active interest in studying and learning Japanese. People ask me about my favorite food. Let's see. Favorite Japanese food, hands down, sushi. Favorite food in general, probably pizza. A close second if you follow me on Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter. And again, thank you for that. Hamburgers. I'm a big food fan. I love eating. I take pictures of the food. But actually, I take pictures of the food because food is expensive in Japan. And I like to remember the food and the money I spend. And I think, you know, it's killing two birds with one stone, as it were. I get good content value, plus I remember that I enjoyed a great meal. So there's that. People ask me, how do you write so fast and do things in content creation so quickly? And I've even been mocked by a couple trolls for stating that. It's just a fact. I'm fast. I was a fast writer as a student. You know, papers and research, that was my thing. My degree are in music, and my advanced degree is in music theory. That's all research and writing papers. So yeah, I'm fast, right? And my editing, same. I'm quick. What can I tell you? I read really, really fast, and I remember most, if not all, of the stuff that I read. So yeah, it helps me. That and a cup of coffee gets you, you know, a life here in Japan that you can enjoy, I guess. So there's that. Somebody also asked me, what are your plans for the future? I don't know. I try not to think that far ahead. I think people get really wrapped up in things like 5-year plans and 10-year plans. I'm healthy and happy today, so I make the most of today, and that's the way it goes. Nobody's promised tomorrow. I put in maximum effort each and every day, and I guess in the future I would love to do something outside of English teaching as a career, as a life. But again, you talk to any content creator, especially here in Japan, everyone has dreams of jumping out of the daily grind of English teaching. So I guess that's me to some degree. People ask me, why am I so kind on social media? I'm kind of, I guess, quote, well known, end quote, for being the kind person on social media. I guess my question would be, why aren't you as kind? I don't think kindness should be very special. I don't think pushing a button, I don't think a kind word or comment in my daily life and on social media kills anybody. If somebody's working hard trying to reach their dreams and goals, why shouldn't I support them in some small way? And I know that that's become a very rare thing in life, and it shouldn't be. And so I try to set the bar, as I talk about on my social media, and be the first person to support, congratulate, and lift up other people on social media. And I try to do that in real life. I'm the first one to stomp you if you're a lazy slug. And any of my great friends will tell you that. But if you're putting a max effort into your life, you can expect a maximum effort from me in support of your dreams, to be sure. Somebody asked me about life in Japan. Do I really enjoy it as much as I talk about it? Yeah, I do. I enjoy life in Japan. Japan is a wonderful place to live. It's not perfect. There are things that I don't enjoy particularly, and people also ask, what don't you like about Japan? I'm not big on Japan bashing. I know that's kind of the social media MO. Let me make some content. Let me tell you how terrible it is to live in Japan. And yet you get that content from people who have lived in Japan 2, 3, 5, 10, even 20 years, which is kind of funny, right? I hate Japan so much that I'm wasting away the best days of my life here. But again, I'm not mocking anybody. People have different reasons for staying and even leaving Japan. But yeah, I enjoyed it. If I didn't enjoy living in Japan, I would move, right? There's an airport about an hour and a half away. I'd buy a ticket and I would go somewhere else. That's it's my choice to stay. And so I do. People ask me about things that bother me about Japan. You know, again, I'm not big on Japan bashing. In my 14 years here, sadly, I think people have become less polite. And I'm not saying that Japanese people are rude, but when I first came here, I rarely ran into issues walking and moving about, especially on public transportation. And more recently, it seems like every day I go out, there's somebody almost intentionally running into me or breaking some law of running a red light with a car and almost hitting me, riding a bicycle where they shouldn't be, and generally expecting me to like make some Olympic-sized gymnastic effort to jump out of the way. That's been disappointing. Also, the fact that the English teaching market has kind of decreased for the most part. The money that was much easier to make and the better jobs that were out there a few years ago have kind of dried up. Again, I'm very fortunate to have a pretty good English teaching job. But I understand the frustration that a lot of foreigners put forth these days about taking jobs that aren't really enough to keep the lights on. And, you know, when you have a spouse and you have a family to support, the pressure is really on to make a living. And, you know, if you're trying to do that as an English teacher, it's not impossible. I've done it for 14 plus years, but I work really hard at that. So, you know, buyer beware there. There are other ways to live a happy life, I'm sure. I think one more question and we'll try to wrap this up today. Somebody asked me about writing and blogging and how I go about getting ideas. I'm always thinking about things. I think good writers are good thinkers. And so it doesn't mean I have a fully formed idea. I'm always thinking about the next article, the next couple of articles, and the next idea. But beyond thinking, I think the success that perhaps I've achieved as a blogger beyond maybe a few other people, and I don't like to compare, everybody's their own person, but if I have kind of stood out a bit, it's because my thoughts get actually published and put into reality. You know, I read a quote a long time ago. The greatest unpublished book is not nearly as good as the worst published book. You really have to get read and get seen if you have any chance and any hope of standing out as a content creator, whether that's in Japan or in whatever niche that you're writing in or blogging or vlogging or YouTube. It's just unrealistic to think, no matter how talented you are, that you're going to blog like once a month and develop any kind of consistent following. I can tell you after 600 plus posts that is not the case, and I am not devoid of talent or creativity. It takes a lot of hard work to rise above and stand out. There are a lot of great people who really love, for example, Japanese food, and who are good at writing and have dreams. But I think if I have one small advantage selfishly, it's that I would grind myself into the ground to outwork people to reach such a dream, and I would never see failure as an opportunity to give up. So there's that. Again, if you have any deeper questions, or you have things that you want me to talk more deeply about in future content on Greg, Grizzled, and Gaijin, let me know at CraigHoffman11 on Twitter. And as always, that's it, and have a great, great day.